So in this video I want to show you how to do an oil change on the Audi S3. It's the same thing for the Golf R and I'm assuming the A3 and other Golf TFSI engine. It's actually very simple. A normal oil change, Audi were quoting me about between 240 and 280. So I thought, why not just do it myself? That way I know exactly which oil I'm putting in, and I can save some money as well and do it properly. Audi and other dealers, they siphon the oil from the top. It's much easier for them. It saves time. They don't have to go under the car. They don't have to take any of the bottom tray off, and they don't have to replace the oil sump plug. So for them it's much easier, but they don't pass on the cost to you. So I thought I'd rather do the oil change properly the conventional way, by draining it from the bottom and not siphoning it from the top. So first of all, you're going to need is the oil. So with Audi they recommend the Castrol Edge, and I'm using 5W30, and that has different specs. So the spec you should be looking for is VW50400, and that is for flexible timed oil changes. If you want to go for the fixed yearly oil change, then you'd go for the 5W40, and on the back you look for VW50200. But because I don't do that much mileage, I want a bit more flexibility in my servicing. So there's not much kit you need actually, just the oil and a couple of other bits. So the other thing will be change the drain plug. So that is at the bottom of the sump, that's the sump plug, and you'll need this special tool to remove it. You can use a screwdriver, but it is a plastic plug, so you don't want to damage this and break it inside the sump. So there's a special tool, it's not a very expensive tool, and that goes straight into the sump plug, and then you can turn it. It's just like that, straight in and out. The other tool you need is a 32mm socket, and that will be used to take the oil filter off, and that just attaches to a wrench, and that will take the filter off. You'll just need a couple of torque screws as well. So it's the T25 and T45 screws. The T45 screws are actually a little bit difficult to remove, so I used a wrench along with this bit. The other thing you'll need is the oil filter. This comes with a seal as well, which we replace, and you just need the oil tray, which will go underneath, which will collect all the oil as we're doing it from underneath, and we're not siphoning it out from the top. All this was actually excluding the oil. All the rest of this stuff came to less than £40, and that's even including other bits and pieces like gloves and other bits and a smaller wrench. So it's actually worked out to be less than £100 for all the kit, including the oil change, which means my next oil change, all I'll be paying for is just purely the oil. We've got to undo these this bottom tray, and which has 3 T45 torques and a couple of other smaller torques either side, and there are 8 T25 screws to remove as well. So once all the screws are out, the bottom tray should just come off. Just pry it a little bit, the little clips, and it should just slide right off, like so. And then you have access to the bottom of the engine. This is the sump plug here, and we're going to take that out and empty the oil. Just put the tool that I showed you before into the hole. It should slot right in, and then use a whatever tool you like to undo it, and then the oil should come out. And we just let that drain, and now we'll show you what to do with the filter. On the top cover, we just pull that off, and then we have the oil here, which we just open up, check the cap, it's all fine, and then we're going to open this, which is where the oil filter is. I've got a special tool for that as well. So now we'll just use this socket, 32mm, and put it on here, and we just untighten that. And that should just come straight off. Still some oil in there, still draining. And that's the old filter, which we're going to change. So we're just going to take this out and dispose of it. So just take this and we can take the seal off. The new seal is going to go on there, like that. So the new filter slots straight on here. Make sure you push it down all the way until you hear it slot in. And then we'll put the top back on again. Tighten it with the wrench. Until it stops. So you can see pretty much all the oil is out. Just a few drops left, but that's enough. And then we're going to put the new bit, the new plug, and we'll put that straight in. And that's tight. And that's the old oil that's come out. Just going to close that up and dispose of this safely. And we're doing is we're filling the Castrol edge that I spoke about, long life, and we're filling that in using a funnel. The oil entry on this car is actually very, very small, so it's best to use a funnel. I'm going to fill up 5 litres and then check the oil, and then fill up, turn on the engine over just to get the oil circulating through the filter, and then I'll fill up the rest, another half or 0.7 of a litre. I've closed the oil cap, started the car for a couple of minutes, let it settle, and I'm just going to check the oil now. It should show as being low because I've only put 5 litres in. We can see here that the level is low down here. So I'm just going to fill up further and fill up a further half or 0.7 of a litre, and then check again. So I'm just going to check the oil again. I'm just going to wipe it clean and then check the oil. And ideally what we want is for it to be bang in the middle. So it's just there, so it's just above middle, which is perfect. And that's it, that's the oil change done. Now I've just got to put the bottom pan back on and take the car off the jack. Last thing left to do is go into the car settings